when it comes to countries who really understand the traditions of playing tournament football here in Africa, only few can better Cameroon to that. And it's no surprise that they are 5 times champions of the AFCON, the second most in the history of the tournament. But going into this year's Africa Cup of Nations in 2025, Cameroon is plagued with many challenges from the players to the coaches and the team as a whole. So we'll discuss the Cameroon campaign for AFCON 2025 and their potential reach in this competition. Cameroon, called the Indomitable Lions, are 5 times champions of Africa, as I mentioned, and they are chasing a potentially 6th title in this year's tournament. But per the FIFA rankings before the start of the competition, they are ranked 10th in Africa. So ideally, they are not part of the best favorite, the top favorite, maybe the top 4 favorites on paper per the rankings. The current Cameroon team is plagued with many challenges, as I mentioned earlier on. And it all started from this man, Tony Conceição, who was the coach of Cameroon during the AFCON in 2021. After they were not able to win that tournament, which was being hosted in Cameroon, he was sacked as the coach, and Rigobert Song was appointed as the next coach for the Indomitable Lions team. Song was able to maneuver his ways to qualify them to the World Cup, where they got eliminated in the group stage despite getting a memorable 1-0 win against Brazil, the game which had Vincent Abubakar scoring and taking off his jersey and getting the red card, but also got that win against Brazil at the World Cup, which was the first ever time an African team was winning against Brazil at the FIFA World Cup itself. But after that competition, Cameroon came to the AFCON 2023, where they failed to go beyond the round 16. It was round 16 where they were stopped. And that was the final nail in the career of Rigobert Song as coach of the Indomitable Lions. He was then not renewed as the coach. He left the role. And that was where the biggest of the problems started. So the ministry, the government of Cameroon appointed this man, Mark Bryce, as the next coach of the Cameroon national team, which was not really well taken by the FA president, which is Samuel Eto'o. And after 1 year of constant battles between the government, the federation, and also the coach, Cameroon failed to qualify to the FIFA World Cup in 2026. And that also became the final nail in the career of, that is, Mark Bryce, the coach. And he was also sacked. And now they have David Pagou, who is the interim coach for Cameroon, going to the AFCON 2025. So for this AFCON, Cameroon qualified by finishing top of their group, which included Zimbabwe, Namibia, and Kenya. They didn't lose any game at all in all qualifications. So unbeaten was how they qualified to the AFCON. But as I mentioned earlier, the team is hugely destabilized with a lot of senior players in the team not going to play at the AFCON. So one is Zambo Anguissa of Napoli, who is actually injured. So he wouldn't be making the final squad. He didn't make the final squad because he was injured. But then there's also Andre Onana, experienced with the Cameroon team, goalkeeper, didn't make the final team. And he is fit though, but he didn't make the team. Vincent Abubakar, who is the captain of the team, also didn't make the final squad. So their captain will not be there, and he is in his 30 plus. There's also no Michael Ngadu, who was a key player when they won the AFCON in 2017. He's been with the team, major player in the team all since. He didn't make the AFCON squad. There's no Momi Ngamelu, who also has been one of the senior members in the team. He's not at the AFCON. There's no Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting at the AFCON. Even young players like Jackson Chatwa didn't make the AFCON squad for Cameroon also. And this decision is expected to bring a huge gap in the dressing room, especially with the senior players missing. But it could also present an opportunity for the younger players to now pick up the mantle and lead the team without the pressure of the senior players in the team. So here's the squad Cameroon will be taking to the Africa Cup of Nations. It has already been announced, released a long time ago, led by the coach, David Pagou. And I'm going to pick some 3 players to look out for, who I think could be the ones to watch for Cameroon. But even before I give you my ones to watch, there is Christian Coffin, who is making his debut. So a few debutants in the list. Christian Coffin is one of them. He plays for Bayer Leverkusen, and he'll be making his debut for Cameroon itself, and also be making his debut at the AFCON. Eric Junior Ibembe plays for Stade Brest in the French league, and he also got his first ever call-up. He's a former French youth player, but he switched and got his first ever call-up, and he'll be playing at the AFCON for Cameroon. A player like Danny Namaso, who recently switched to play for Cameroon, will also be making his first ever AFCON tournament. And even young players like Carlos Baleba, who is also young in the team, will be making his first ever appearance at the AFCON. But let me now go to the three players to look out for in Cameroon going into the AFCON. Number one will have to be Carl Eta Eyong, and this player has been groomed in the proper Cameroonian way. So he played for the Cameroon under-20 team, played for the under-23 team, and has now graduated and will be playing for the senior team at the AFCON. He currently plays for Levante in the French Liga, and he has been one of the most, let me say, rewarding strikers in the world currently, because he has 6 goals and 3 assists already this season and has an insanely good accuracy. But even apart from his accuracy and eye for goal, another thing that makes him so good is his work rate on the pitch, with his abilities to draw into midfield to assist his teammates in the build-up and also be at the end of it on rare occasions, and very good finishing, which is the reason why he has 6 goals already from not a lot of shots, but still has 6 goals. So he'll be one of the players to watch out for Cameroon at the AFCON. Then there is Brian Mbeumo of Manchester United, who will also be playing his first ever AFCON tournament. That is because in the last AFCON in 2023, which was played in 2024, he got injured just few days to the start of the competition, so he was not able to make the tournament. This time he's fit, he's in form, already has 5 goals and 1 assist with his club in the Premier League already. So he's expected to be one of the key players for Cameroon to depend on at the AFCON. And it's his first ever tournament too, so it could only be good for the Indomitable Lions. Then an odd pick in David Ipasi, the goalkeeper. Let me explain. That is because anytime Cameroon do not go to a tournament, a major tournament with Andre Onana, the goalkeeper plays a big role. So in 2017, there was no Onana at the AFCON because he pulled out of the tournament, and he left a gap with Fabrice Ondoa, who played a big role, a major role in that Cameroon campaign. He was so key that led them going all the way to win the AFCON. Even at the last World Cup in 2022, it was the same David Ipasi who stepped up after Onana was dropped from the team. And he played a big part even in Cameroon getting that historic 1-0 win over Brazil. So anytime there is goalkeeping crisis, the one who steps in mostly plays a big role for Cameroon, and this time it's David Ipasi who is expected to be the goalkeeper to step in. So I think he's potentially one of the players to watch for Cameroon. The Indomitable Lions are in a potential group of death because they have Ivory Coast, the defending champions in their group. They also do have, that is, Gabon, who nearly made it to the World Cup, have some of the most informed players in Africa right now. Then there is also Mozambique, who can be a challenging side in the group. The dynamics for Cameroon against all their opponents in this group does not really look all that good for them. So let's take on Ivory Coast. They have not won against Ivory Coast at the Africa Cup of Nations since 2002. That is over 23 years now. And the last time the two sides met in 2015 and 2006, it was Ivory Coast who triumphed in both occasions. Then pick also Gabon. Cameroon overall have a good advantage over Gabon, but when it comes to the Africa Cup of Nations, they have never been able to beat Gabon before. So even if you pick the few times they met, it was a draw the last time. Also, Gabon won one of the times they met in 2010. So at the AFCON, they always have it difficult when they play Gabon. Then it will also be the first time Cameroon will be playing Mozambique at the Africa Cup of Nations. The two sides have never met at this tournament before. So if you consider all tournaments though, Cameroon do have the advantage over Mozambique. So maybe that is the plus there. Let me get into my prediction mode. And Cameroon, as I mentioned since the video, have been plagued with so many troubles which do not get solved overnight. And for me, I think this AFCON will probably be a transitional moment, especially with the absence of major key players. But it's also to note that AFCON does not really follow logic. Sometimes it devises all the logic. But then on paper, I don't really see them thriving that much in this group, especially since that they are coming against opponents who are in form and also opponents who historically they struggle to beat at the AFCON. I don't really see this campaign going all that good for Cameroon. And my prediction is group stage exit for Cameroon. But you can also let me know what you think. Do you think Cameroon can go all the way in this AFCON, or their journey ends in the group stages?